My name is Adam. I grew up in a small town where life was simple, but my dreams were always big. My father worked in a workshop fixing old cars, and my mother sold vegetables in the market. I often helped them after school, my hands covered in oil or dirt, but I never complained. I always thought one day my life would change. Then came the day when I saw Anna for the first time. She was sitting in a big black car outside my school, her golden hair shining in the sunlight. Everyone whispered her Namana, the rich girl whose father owned half the town. That day Anna stepped out of her car and walked past me. Her perfume filled the air, and her high heels clicked on the road like music. My friends nudged me, saying, "Adam, she looked at you." I laughed it off, but inside my heart raced. Later that week, she appeared again near the football ground where I was playing with my friends. She clapped when I scored a goal. After the game, she came closer and said with a smile, "You play well, Adam." I froze. A rich girl like her talking to me felt like a dream. Soon, Anna started coming often. She would sit near the ground and watch us play. One evening, she gave me a bottle of cold water, saying, "You must be tired." My friends stared with open mouths, whispering about how a girl like her could even notice me. That night, I couldn't sleep. I thought about her smile, her soft voice, and the way her eyes sparkled when she looked at me. My little sister teased me, saying, "Brother, you are falling in love." I laughed, but deep down I knew it was true. Something was starting in my heart. Days passed, and Anna grew closer. One afternoon, she asked me to walk with her in the park. We sat on a bench under the big oak tree. She told me stories about her rich life, grand parties, private schools, shopping in big cities. I listened, amazed, while she asked about my simple world. I said I worked with my father and sold vegetables with my mother. She giggled and said, "That's cute, Adam." For the first time, I felt proud of my poor life. But I also felt a fear inside me. What if she was just passing time with me? One evening, she surprised me by bringing me a new shirt. She said, "Wear this, Adam, you will look handsome." I hesitated, but accepted it. That night, I wore it while working at my father's shop, and everyone laughed, saying it was too expensive for a poor boy like me. I ignored them because I wanted Anna to be happy. The next day, she asked me to meet her at the cafe. It was the first time I ever entered such a fancy place. She ordered coffee for me, and I held the cup nervously, worried about breaking it. Anna laughed when she saw me holding the cup like it was gold. "Relax, Adam," she said softly. She leaned closer and whispered, "I like you." My heart stopped. I had dreamed of these words, but hearing them felt unreal. I walked home that night with a smile that even my tired father noticed. "Why are you glowing, son?" he asked. I lied and said nothing, but my mother guessed. She warned me, "Rich girls like her play with poor boys. Be careful." I brushed it off, but her words kept echoing in my head, creating silent doubt. One weekend, Anna invited me to her mansion. I had never seen such a huge house. Chandeliers sparkled like stars, and soft carpets covered the floor. I felt out of place, but Anna pulled me by the hand and said, "Don't be shy." She showed me her big room filled with dresses, perfumes, and jewelry. Then she gave me a photo frame with both our pictures. "Keep this," she said, smiling sweetly. For a moment, I believed she truly cared. But while leaving, I heard her cousins whisper, "Why is Anna wasting time with that poor boy?" I ignored the whispers, telling myself that love could cross all walls. Anna kept calling me every day, sometimes late at night. She cried once, saying her father would never accept me. I held her hand and said, "I will fight for us." She hugged me tightly. I thought it was true love, but slowly, strange things began to happen. One evening, she introduced me to her rich friends at a party. They laughed when I mispronounced a word while speaking English. Anna smiled awkwardly, but didn't defend me. I felt small, like a joke standing in front of them. After that night, doubts grew stronger. Still, I kept meeting her because I loved her too much. One evening we went to the fair. I bought her cotton candy with the little money I had. She laughed happily and called me Sweet Adam. But later, when she saw a golden bracelet, she teased me, saying, "Can you buy this for me?" I smiled sadly, knowing I could never afford it. She giggled and said, "Don't worry, Adam. You can give me small things. That's enough." Her words cut deep, but I forced a smile to hide my pain. One cold evening, Anna asked me to meet her behind the school library. When I arrived, she handed me a note. It said, "Do not tell anyone about us. They won't understand." My hands shook while reading. She leaned closer, kissed my cheek, and ran away before anyone saw us. My heart burned with love, but also with fear. Why was she hiding me? That night I wrote her a small poem on cheap paper, and the next day I left it in her locker. When she read it, she laughed sweetly and whispered, "You are so innocent, Adam." Weeks passed. Anna continued to meet me in secret. Sometimes she brought gifts, sometimes she asked for mine. Once, I saved money for a whole week and bought her a small silver ring. She hugged me tightly, saying, "This means more than gold." I felt happy, but then, at her birthday party, she danced with David, her childhood friend, while her relatives clapped. I stood far away, feeling invisible. Later, she saw my sad face and whispered, "Don't worry, Adam, he means nothing still." A sharp pain cut my heart that night, and I couldn't sleep. One rainy evening, Anna asked me to meet her near the old railway station. I rushed there, wet and shivering. She looked beautiful under her red umbrella. "Adam, I need a favor," she said softly. "Pretend to be my boyfriend in front of my cousins tomorrow. They tease me for being alone." My heart broke. So was I, only a game. Still, I nodded because I couldn't say no to her. The next day, I stood by her side while she proudly showed me off. Her cousins smirked, whispering. I felt like a toy she used to win a game. The more I thought, the more truth hit me. One evening, while walking home, I saw Anna sitting in her car with David. They were laughing together. She noticed me and looked guilty. I didn't say a word, just kept walking in the rain. That night, she called me, crying, saying, "It's not what you think." But my heart was already bleeding. My little sister found me sitting in silence and said softly, "Brother, sometimes love is not love. Sometimes it's just a game." Her words echoed in my mind all night, burning deeper than any wound. The next week, Anna came to my house. She smiled at my mother and handed her a basket of fruits. My mother looked at me with doubt. Anna pulled me outside and whispered, "Adam, please don't be angry. You are special to me." I wanted to believe her, but then she said, "But you must understand, my world is different." Her words tore me apart. I realized then that I was never her choice, only her comfort when she felt lonely. Still, I stayed silent because my heart was too weak to let her go completely. Days later, Anna's rich friends invited her to another party. She asked me to come along. I hesitated, but agreed. At the party, I felt lost among glittering lights and loud music. Anna danced while I stood near the wall. A girl from her group whispered, "Is this the poor boy she plays with?" They laughed behind me. I clenched my fists, but Anna ignored it. Later, when I walked her home, she smiled and said, "Don't mind them, you are strong, Adam." But I felt more broken than ever, my pride crushed again and again. One evening, Anna sent me a message, "Come to the park, urgent." I ran there quickly. She stood by the fountain, looking serious. "Adam, I want you to do something crazy. Prove your love." She asked me to climb the tall fountain and write our names with chalk. I did it, nearly slipping, while she laughed. People passing by clapped, but my heart sank. Was this love or just entertainment for her? She hugged me afterward, saying, "You are my hero." I smiled, but deep inside I felt like a clown in her circus of fun. The truth finally came out one afternoon. I overheard Anna talking with her friends. She said, "Adam is sweet, but he's just a game to make life exciting." My chest tightened. I left before she saw me. That night, I sat with my father. He noticed my tears and said, "Son, remember, love without respect is not love." His words gave me strength. I decided to face Anna. The next day, I met her in the park. I looked into her eyes and said, "I know the truth, Anna. I was just a game for you." Anna froze, her smile fading. She tried to explain, saying, "Adam, you don't understand." But I interrupted, "No, Anna, I do. You wanted fun, not love. I gave you my heart. My heart was heavy, but my pride was finally free." She shouted my name, but I didn't stop. That night, I burned the photo frame she had given me. My tears fell with the flames, but for the first time, I felt like I was taking my life back. Weeks passed slowly, the pain started to fade. I worked harder with my father in the workshop and helped my mother at the market. My little sister kept encouraging me, saying, "Brother, your story is not over. One day, someone real will love you." I smiled weakly, but I knew she was right. Life moved on. Sometimes I still saw Anna from far away, stepping out of her black car, shining like always. But now, I no longer felt the same. She was part of my past, a lesson written deep in my heart. In the end, I learned the hardest truth. Love is not about gifts, games, or secrets. Love is about respect, care, and honesty. Anna may have used me, but she also taught me never to lose myself in someone else's game. One evening, as the sun set over the small town, I promised myself, "Adam, you will rise. You will build a life with someone who sees your worth." With that thought, I walked forward, my hands still rough with work, but my heart stronger than ever. The game was over, and I had finally won.